Hi there, everybody. It's the Joda Podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Da.
And hello. Thanks for listening. It's been a little bit since we did the last podcast. Well, a lot of things have been going on.
Yeah, we've had some stuff going on and one of the things we'd like to share with you today, what we'd like to talk about.
Yeah. For any of you who have listened for a while or listened to me on the Pulse or what have you, you know about our kitty cat, Coopur. Mm-hmm. Our little black kitty cat, Coopur.
You would hear him in the background meowing.
He would meow every once in a while. We did a video on... if you go to our YouTube page, you can see the video, everything about Coopur and all that kind of stuff. Well, Coopur went home to be with Jesus on Friday. We had to put him down because he was really, really, really sick and just not doing well, was not going to get better. And it was hard for us, but we knew it was the right thing to do for Coopur.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't suffer.
Yeah, we posted a video on Facebook of him. And Joe talked about it in church today. And then after church today, you know, a lot of our church family came up to us and they've gone through a similar thing, or they understand, or they've been hurt and they miss their animal too. And so we thought, let's sit down and let's talk, because I feel like if you've ever owned a pet, you've gone through this, or you're going to go through this at some point, and it's hard. And I feel like, you know, it would be good for us to explain the decision we came to have him put down, and you know, what that was like for us. And so if anyone else goes through this, they'll have something they can look back on and have a reference for.
Well, if you're not familiar with Coopur's story, we were thinking about getting a cat, but we hadn't definitely decided on it yet.
Have we talked about this on a podcast before?
I think we did a video with the Everything About Coopur video.
Oh, okay.
But we haven't done this with the audio podcast.
Oh, I see. Yes, we'll recap it.
We wanted to get a cat, and I forget where I was.
You were at home.
I was at home, maybe doing I might have gotten home from a class. It might have been when I was back in school or something.
Yeah, and we weren't even going to get one at that time.
Right.
I was just looking, if you can't see, I'm doing air quotations.
You and our friend Nimra decided you were going to go to the shelter and just look.
Yep.
And you were looking at the kittens.
Yeah. My friend Nimra, when we lived in Cleveland, she worked with me at an apartment complex. We were both leasing agents, and we were just looking, you know, how we do. We window shop for kittens. That's just a normal thing. But I have never in my life picked out my own pet, ever. And I remember telling Joe, I want to be able to pick out my own pet. I've never been able to pick one out because I've only had like when I was a kid pets, you know. And so we were just going to go look. I was kind of wanting like a gray kitten. I loved gray cats, and I thought they were so pretty. And we have a friend, Deja, and she has a gray cat, and it's just so pretty. And I was looking at all the kittens that they had there. And I went one direction and Nimra went the other, and we were looking, and this little black cat just kept following me around. And he was the only cat that was out in the shelter. And they said, we named him Sunshine because he's just the friendliest cat. He gets along with all the other cats, and he's the only cat that gets along with everybody and everything. And so they let him wander around as much as he wanted.
A black cat named Sunshine.
Yes, which I thought was really weird at the time. So I'm like, oh, that's nice. And so I kept looking at the kittens, and I found a kitten. I'm like, oh, I want to play with them. And at this shelter, they had a cage that you could go into and sit down with the pet and play with it and kind of bond with the pet. And so I was in there with the kitten, and Coopur just wandered over and just sat at the cage and just watched me play with this kitten with these little eyes. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And I was at the time, like, I wasn't like gearing towards him. I was just feeling like, okay, he wants some attention, so I'll give this cat some attention. And so I gave the kitten to my friend Nimra, and I said, let him come in. I'll play with him for a second. And so Coopur came walked right into the cage. He knew it, and he jumped right up on my lap, and he just started kissing me and giving me kisses all over. And I looked at my friend Nimra, and she just looked at me, and she goes, I'll call Joe. And so she called Joe. Joe came down and met Coopur too. And Coopur did the same thing to you, didn't he? He jumped up on your lap and started giving you kisses.
Yep. And it was like, okay, buddy, you're going home with us.
And we took him home that night.
And we didn't keep the name Sunshine. We called him Coopur because he had this little way of cooing when he purred.
Yeah. It took us 3 days to name him.
Yeah.
We took 3 days to name this cat because nothing just seemed to fit his personality. And so as you like rub his fur, like, and you get him going really good, he goes, and then he does a cooing on top, and he goes, And he did that till the day he died. He always did those Coopurs. And so that's how he got the name. Coopur, Coopur.
Yeah. He was a gift from God because I have never seen a cat like this before or since that just thoroughly loved everybody. There was maybe one cat. It wasn't my cat. There was a cat at one of the group homes I worked at that was a really affectionate cat, but none of the cats I ever had was uber affectionate. And Coopur was a lot like a dog, and he never met somebody he didn't like.
He'd greet you at the door.
He would greet you at the door. He would let kids play with him.
He liked having his belly rubbed.
Love all over him, yeah.
Anybody could pick him up and carry him. Like you would meet him, and then 2 seconds he'd be by your lap wanting attention from you. Like,
yeah, if you laid down on the couch, he'd be on top of you, whether you were a stranger or not.
People-pleasing cat. Oh. Like he just loved people.
And he loved being talked to, and he loved being sung to. You would sing lullabies to him, and he would just curl up and
just nuzzle into your chest.
Yeah.
He loved to be like carried on my shoulder. He loved Joe's beard. Like he loved to lick Joe's beard.
He bathed me.
He bathed him, and he would get into this zone, and like he could hear nothing or see nothing else but just the beard hair that was in front of him. He loved to bathe Joe.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah.
And he loved. I know. I don't know how I know, but I know that he knew what praying was.
Oh, yeah.
Because he would crawl up in your lap.
Yep.
When I was in the hospital after my big fall, it wasn't very long after we got Coopur that I fell.
Yeah.
And he was a great comfort to you during that time because he would climb up in your lap and you guys would pray for me every morning.
We just prayed a simple prayer of, please bring Daddy home to us.
And that's something he did his whole life.
Yep, until the day he died. I prayed for him the morning we had him put down. I mean, I prayed. He was a praying cat. He loved to be prayed. He loved to sit in your lap and you hold him close and like whisper the prayers in his ear. Like that's what he liked. He really loved that.
Yeah. He was so talkative. He would answer you with questions, and like one of the things that helped on Friday when we had to put him down was earlier Friday morning, I played an interview with Coopur that I had recorded, an interview, quote unquote, that I had recorded with Coopur during COVID.
You know, it'd be so great as if you could link that to this video.
I'm here with Coopur the kitty cat, to talk about quarantine. Coopur, how have you been handling quarantine, huh? Yeah? Has it been hard for a kitty just sleeping and eating treats and having mommy daddy home? It's been hard? Has life been hard for the kitty? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, what's your favorite thing about being home with mommy and daddy? You don't? Oh, okay. So, are you the cutest kitty in the whole wide world? Yeah? Yeah, you are. So, do you have a word for the people about staying positive? Say God's in control. Say God's in control. Oh, yeah, don't eat my microphone. Yeah, say God's in control. Yeah. I played that. I just asked him some random questions, and he meowed at me, and I edited it together a little bit to make it, fit. But I played that Friday morning around 7:10 just to honor Coopur. And when we went in to put him down, the vet tech, Kaylee, she saw my hat, 104.3 The Pulse hat where I work. And she goes, I listened to The Pulse and I heard his little interview this morning, and I just sat in my car and cried and thought of you guys and prayed. And that was
so
something
sweet.
We needed to hear that.
Yes.
And then Dr. Erica, Coopur's vet, she wasn't scheduled to put him down, but she juggled her schedule so she could do it because she loved Coopur and Coopur loved her.
Yeah, Coopur was one of their favorite cats. Dr. Erica was just very kind. Like, Coopur was a people person, but he was scared. When he went to the vet, he was always scared. And I always joke, the only time he liked his carrier was when we were at the vet. And we would open up the carrier and she wouldn't force him. She would just get down on his level and talk to him really calmly. And then she would wait until he headbutted her. And then she would work on him.
Yeah.
she took her time with him and spoke his language, so to speak. She's such a great vet.
And she put her face down by him, and you're such a good boy. You're such a handsome boy. And you just talked to him, comforted him, and gave him the shot, and his little head just went down.
Yeah.
And
I have to say the hardest thing about this whole thing was making that decision.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure how I felt about putting an animal down. Was it against God's will? Because shouldn't it happen naturally? And I know it's kind of a sore topic for some people, and some people lean towards one way and some people lean towards the other. And we have, my sister-in-law has done this with cats both ways. She's let the cat pass away on their own, and she's had a cat where she had to put them down. And I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, but Coopur in his last days was very sick.
He took no joy in anything.
No.
At the very end, he loved bath time and getting brushed, and you tried to do that for him, and
it was hurting him.
It was hurting him. He didn't want it,
and that was his favorite thing.
He couldn't make it to the litter box in time. He was and it was just pure diarrhea because they think he had lymphoma of the intestines.
Yeah, I think that's what she said.
Cancer.
And he also had other, if you've listened to the podcast, he was also a handicapped cat.
Yeah, he had bum paws.
We have steps throughout our house and things for him to be able to get up into things. But towards the end, he couldn't keep control of his bowels. And he was either vomiting or pooping things out constantly. He would eat constantly, but he just could not keep it in him. And so he lost a lot of weight.
He was 5 pounds.
Probably less than that the day of.
Yeah.
Because he was very skinny. Like, it got to a point where I was scared to pick him up because I was afraid I would just snap him. But we knew Wednesday. We made the decision Wednesday, I think, that we were going to have him put down. And then I talked to a vet Wednesday and got him scheduled for Friday. Not gonna lie, knowing ahead of time those 2 days was hard.
It felt like countdown to execution.
It was just constant tears in this house.
And everything was, this is the last time he's going to do this. This is the last time he's going to lay in the sun. Because we took him outside before we went to the vet, and he laid on the sidewalk, and he loves sunning himself. And he laid there in the sun, and he was looking around, and he loved being outside. And he wasn't an outside cat, but he loved going out and staying on the concrete. He didn't get out in the grass or anything, but he would stay there on the warmth, and he was just enjoying it. And
it was hard those last 2 days, but I don't regret having that time because
to say goodbye.
We got to say goodbye, and mentally you knew that these were your last moments. Like, I kind of made sure I paid attention to it, and like how his fur felt in my face and kissing his little ears, and I also knew he was going to be dying, and so I'm like, have whatever you want, buddy. He's always wanted to try ice cream, so we let him try ice cream. He loves to eat French fries, so we bought him some French fries. He had all of his favorites plus some things he's always wanted to try. Like, it was fun to see him kind of explore some new things before he died, and I liked having that kind of time with him. But it was hard.
We didn't put him in the carrier on the way over. We
didn't want to stress him out.
He sat in my lap and looked out the window.
We had the windows down the whole way to the vet.
Because he loved car rides. He loved to look around.
As long as he wasn't in his
carrier,
he loved being in the car. Yes, he was an adventure cat for sure.
We just put him in the carrier to take him from the car into the vets. That was all, because we didn't want to stress him out. And I think he had a good last day.
Yeah, we tried to make sure he did. And that's what I did like about having that appointment, is that we could plan to do that kind of stuff for him.
Would I have rathered him just go in his sleep?
Oh, absolutely.
And
we prayed for it. Yeah.
We prayed that, Jesus, just please take him. But I don't know why. It was maybe Jesus knew we just needed a little extra time with him. And I know a lot of people out there are like, it's just an animal. Animals aren't in heaven. Don't worry. I mean, well, first off, you're a cold-hearted person.
Well, and also God grieves with us when we grieve.
Yeah. He created these animals for our pleasure, and he brings them into our lives, and they add so much. And yes, they're not like you and me. They don't have souls like you and I do, but God created them. They're his creations. And heaven, I don't have scripture to back this up or anything. This is just something I hope and pray for, that, heaven's going to be filled with the things that brought us joy in
God's beautiful creation.
God's beautiful creation.
And Coopur was beautiful.
Yeah, and
we have thousands of pictures.
And I hope I get up there and I see Biscuit, my dog, and Mina and Smokey and Scamper and Coopur, all these loving pets that we had throughout my life. And because they added something, every one of them added something to our lives. And I think, if it's paradise and we believe we're going to see our loved ones again, well, our pets were our loved ones. So it might not be scriptural, it might not be doctrine or anything, but it's what I hope for and pray for.
Yeah. I know that there's a lot of people that feel the same way we do. And even our church family, a lot of them reached out to us telling us their pet stories and sending us pictures of their pets, and they really connected to it. So, they're not just pets, they're helpers in our lives. And, even one of our family members at church was saying how when they were depressed, they got an animal, and that animal helped them. Yeah. It was a reason to get up, and it makes you take care of something that's outside of yourself. And it makes you focus on another living creature, and it helps you to get out of that depression state. And God has blessed us with pets, and, I don't take God's blessings for granted. And I'm very happy that he allowed us to be blessed with Coopur.
He touched a lot of hearts. Mm-hmm. His grandma, my mom, back in Ohio.
He loved grandma.
Aunt Mandy, Uncle Travis,
Uncle Andy. He loved Andy and Sarah. And my dad would pretend like he didn't like them, but I know you, Dad. I know you and animals. I know you liked Coopur.
Yeah, everybody liked Coopur.
You'd have to be cold-hearted not to
even
like
his
Coopur.
Last week of life when he wasn't feeling good, some friends of ours came over, brought their kids over to go swimming, and Coopur, even though he was in pain and not feeling good, he let these kids love on him and pet him and give him attention, and he was good as gold.
Yep.
He just had that peaceful, loving, kind spirit that you wish humans had.
Yeah. I always say to Joe, I've never met an animal that had so many fruits of the Spirit. He was so gentle and patient and kind and loving. And, he was all the fruits of the Spirit. And I've never met an animal that just embodied all of that and everything. And we even have our goddaughters would come over. And one of our goddaughters is allergic to cats. And every time that she knew she would come over, she would tell her mom, I need to take my medicine so I can pet Coopur. And she's a very hyperactive kid. She's had some situations, and Coopur calmed her. It was just, he was a calming spirit in her life. And so I'm glad I'm not the one that has to tell them that he's not around anymore, but it's, I don't know. Pets mean a lot. And if you have a pet, maybe hug them a little closer for us today, and just remember to cherish every moment you have with them. They are a blessing from the Lord.
They are a blessing, and I believe God's going to bring some kitties into our life in the future. We're taking a break from being...
Yeah, this one's hard.
This one hurts. This one's very, very hard, and Coopur will never be replaced.
No.
He will always be part of our family. We'll just add to the joy of our family with some kitty cats later. And I think we're agreed that whenever we do, we're going to get 2 cats so they can be
have some
comfort
company
with each other when we're out and about, because unfortunately Coopur was alone a lot.
Yeah.
And I know he didn't like that.
Yeah, he was such a social cat. And, even if we went away for a night or two somewhere, I always had someone stay with him, because if he was left alone too long, it depressed him.
Yeah.
He's such a social animal. And so we always made sure someone could check in on him at least while we were gone for a night or two. We would never leave him alone more than a night. And we never did. He was always with us.
Yeah.
He even traveled across the country with us a couple times.
Yep, absolutely. So do you have a pet story of a pet that's no longer with you, that how that pet changed your life, the effect that cat or dog or hamster or whatever had on your life, and your story of letting go and how God helped you through that? You can email me, joe@thepulse.mn, and I'll pass that story along to Da. joe@thepulse.mn. Wherever you're hearing this podcast, if you're going through the Pulse website or if you're going through our YouTube page, one of those 2 ways. But
or if you have a topic you would like us to talk about,
Yeah.
email that there too. You know, if there's something you would like for us to discuss. Pretty much, we just like to come on here and share our life, you know,
Yep.
and our ministries. And
we don't have
so sorry.
we don't have super agendas. We don't have super topics or a whole lot. It's just usually what's happening in our lives at the moment. We talk fishing. We talk God. We talk animals, pets,
each other,
marriage. Yeah. So thanks for listening. And babe, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Just that I love you.
And God loves you.
And he'll keep you forever.
And ever and ever. And we'll keep you forever, Coopur. We love you.
Forever.
Forever. Well, check you later, guys.